Hi everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter, and I'm joined with Connor.
Hey guys.
We are going to talk about Killjoys Season 2, Episode 9. It's called Johnny Be Good. What a title there. Full spoilers, as always, for the episode. So,
We'll start with the big stuff.
I guess, this is obviously the second last episode of the season. Next week's the finale. And there was a point in this where it really felt like it was the finale. Where I'm like, wait a minute, you're kind of wrapping things up here. Things seem
Yeah.
just a little bit.
And I almost thought, are they actually, after teasing us every episode of the
Oh
season,
god, I know
are
that.
we actually getting
Do
a
you know
new
what?
crewmate?
Do you know what? See when that scene happened, right? And obviously we'll talk about what led there, but that scene happens where Johnny's like, "Look, why don't you move on the ship? We could use a doctor. We always get hurt." And I'm like, finally, after like 6 episodes this season where they kept teasing different people as the possible fourth regular member of the ship, I'm like, finally. And then I paused and went, "She's gonna die.
Yeah, I did
She's
the exact same thing.
she's not coming on that ship. No fucking way. This is
You,
far too
you
happy."
get about 20 seconds of, oh shit, yeah, finally.
I
And then
know.
it's like, hang on, this isn't right.
So, Potter's dead.
Yeah, very dead.
Alright, let's jump back to the start and we'll get to the
Ha,
ramifications of
see what we did there? We did the same thing as the episode.
Yeah, we had the same thing as the episode, but amusingly last week we both said that we thought the episode was doing that, and then it just didn't. So I
Yeah,
was a little worried for the first like minute of this episode when they
that it
threw
was
us.
just not doing it again.
Yeah, because it threw us into this, scene where Dutch is like being held captive by these random people from Old Town, and she's being interrogated. And I was like, oh god, don't do the same thing as last week. You can't just keep skipping things. And
I legitimately thought that's what it was doing again. I was like, oh, for
uh,
fuck's sake.
but luckily it did say like a day earlier or whatever the
I think it
caption
was a
was.
day, yeah.
Yeah, and we set all this up. So Dutch and Dav came in to rescue Johnny and Potter and got them all up to speed, and everyone sort of hatched a plan to try and disable the walls because the company is trying to poison everyone so that only the strong will be left. Which at this point we're still thinking it's for slaves reasons for to be
Yeah.
workers, but they're all happy because the walls intoxicating them. But then obviously later on, we underground we find out all that green ooze is there, so they're
Mm.
actually trying to make them into sixes. So revelation. Um, but of course so the first half is basically just them sneaking in and like having some banter here or there. Highlight is maybe the AI that Johnny talks to, who's got a bit of an attitude, and gives him cheek for trying to break into him.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was good fun. Some other moments that stood out to me was Dav saying to Johnny that Dutch was clearly jealous in some way, and
Mm.
he should speak to her, which I thought was good because to sort of jump ahead to where that comes back up, when we cut back to present day after Dutch has been held captive and interrogated, and Johnny shows up and he gets a chance to talk to her. I actually thought that scene was the standout of the episode because the emotional touches to it were really good. Like I actually really felt the connection there and the relationship.
I think it helps that their connection was what kind of sold the show from the first episode. Like
Mm.
right at the start, the show didn't have that much going for it other than these two. So to see it kind of utilized for some good emotional beats really helps.
Because I enjoy Killjoys, but it is kind of shallow a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And it was the same thing here, but it felt just kind of okay. They're breaking into like stop the wall and stop everyone from being enslaved slash poisoned or whatever. But then this scene gave it weight. This scene, like obviously later on there was perhaps some more weight with deaths involved, but this scene gave it weight because I was like, oh shit, I'm feeling this, and
Mm.
like they're actually getting an emotional response out of me, which is not something I really expect Killjoys to do, but they've kind of pulled it off here. And then Johnny's line about wanting his Dutch and eating his Potter too was a
It's
good.
good, wasn't it?
Well, see, I thought that was funny. Obviously, that was funny because of the sexual connotation that he didn't mean.
Yeah.
And then I thought it was even funnier was her saying, "You realise we're not baked goods." Like, I just thought that was a really good line. I don't know.
Yeah.
So no, I really like that. And her of course saying like, "I need you in my life. You're like the one goddamn thing that keeps me not turning into a piece of shit." And it built up nicely throughout the episode between Dav and Johnny talking about it, and then Dutch talking to Potter about it, and Potter saying he doesn't necessarily want to be a Killjoy forever. You know,
Yeah.
like
It adds more as well to her being so pissed off when he goes rogue and just goes and does stuff on his own, because it makes her feel like he's not going to be there.
yeah. So it was really nice to see them reunite in this episode after a good emotional sort of like heart to heart, as that were.
Yeah, definitely.
Because when he grabs the gun after that and says, "There's no way I'm leaving that, her side ever," you know.
Yeah.
And he's just saying
Nice,
it to him. He's saying it to him to be like, "Look, I'm not putting this gun down. We're having a fight. I'm not leaving her behind." But there's that nice double meaning that hits home for us.
Yeah.
So no, there's a so
Surprisingly great.
yeah, that was good. That was where the episode stepped up for me. Everything before it was fine. There was some build up and there was some banter and things.
It was just a good level of what you expect from Killjoys. It was good.
Yeah, but then the second half with that scene specifically amped it up.
Yeah.
And the other scene that really amped it up was Dulcea comes in and negotiates, saying, "All right, Potter, you have won." And how did she win? Of course, she won. And again, a really kind of
That was
dark scene.
God, what a scene.
Yeah. So Potter, realizing that the only way she can disable the fence, because there's like a failsafe on the codes and all that, and you can't just blow it up because it'll go nuclear. Which feels like a very like forced writing point almost. Like, why can't they just shoot it? Oh, it's got plutonium in it. it'll go nuclear.
It is a little bit, but then you're gonna go, well, they got to be powering it somehow.
Well, no, I'm not. I'm not even complaining. It stuck out to me as, oh, this is just there so they can't just blow it up.
Yeah, no, I get that, but see, there's whenever that happens, it's either fine because it pays off and it's worth it, or it's worse because whatever reason doesn't
Yeah.
stick.
So the reason why that's there is because Potter's only option is to overload it. And how do you overload it? You get people to run into it until enough of them have died and the fence is doing so much work that it just shuts down because it can't handle doing so much at once, like an old computer.
Yeah, it's really her making the tough call there, and I think it pays off a lot because earlier in the episode, I think it was when she was talking to Dutch, maybe.
Yeah, she's saying how she's not a killer.
She's not a killer. She's a doctor. She wants to save lives, not take them.
But she makes dozens of people.
Because Dutch tells her, she goes, sometimes to save lives, you got to take some.
Yeah, and she kills maybe a few dozen, maybe 100 or so people.
I think it was. Well, see, we saw the first bit of the fence. We saw maybe 15 or so run into it. But then it zooms out and you see it going, but not all at once, and it's broken up. It doesn't go round in a line. So I think that people are running into it at each section.
True. If I do have to point out a kind of a plot hole here, it's that originally the fence's effects and their emotions took like time. It took days. Whereas in this episode, both them turning it off and then her turning the anger on were both basically instantaneous.
Yeah, the only reason I can think is maybe that she pumped it quite high immediately, whereas before maybe they did it gently so they wouldn't notice.
Maybe?
I don't know.
It's just something I noticed. It stuck out to me. And that actually pisses off Johnny as well, actually, because when he's talking to Dutch, he brings that up. And it's only after when he's talking to Potter that it kind of calms down again, and he makes the offer for her to move on the ship, because she's given up all of her royalty rights and
all the titles and land. Yeah.
To make this deal. But of course, they'll say it. And a pretty good little moment, actually, turns around and stabs her. And screws over
it comes
everyone.
out of nowhere. Because
yeah, it does.
The old towners have this like ritual thing. It's like a blood pact, basically.
Yeah,
where they slice the hand and sign in blood.
Yeah, they sign the contract in blood, so they press their hand down on the page.
Yeah. It's one of those things that doesn't stick out that much. You can buy that, that they'd have this sort of thing. But as soon as she gets the knife, it's just nope. It's very quick.
Yeah, she immediately stabs Potter, and all of her henchmen start attacking all the old towners in the room. And she pulls out like a separate contract that she's got written up, which presumably has completely different terms. We don't get to see what it is, but much worse, I imagine. And she uses like Potter's dead hand to like sign it.
Yeah, I really like that scene where the Sixes are all attacking as well, because we kind of see the whole thing just out of focus. All we're seeing is Johnny and Pawter.
Yeah, it's really well shot, actually.
Yeah, but there's all the fight going on around, just out of focus, and I really like that.
Yeah. So then they get back to the ship. They have to knock out Johnny to get him back to the ship because he doesn't want to leave Potter, thinking that she can somehow come back. But she's clearly dead. She's
She's very dead.
yeah. She's dead. Which is a shame. I like Potter, but hey.
Me too.
Sometimes to have a death have an impact, you have to have someone.
But it doesn't really work if you don't like them, does it?
Nah, it doesn't. We just be rolling our eyes and going, "Hey, okay, plot point, move on."
Yeah.
So I forget his name, but every team needs an asshole guy.
Yeah.
On Lucy. Oh, actually, that reminds me of another line that I really liked when Johnny says to Lucy, "Put on your analysing pants," and she's like, "I don't have pants, Johnny. I'm a ship."
I think Johnny and Lucy are like some of the best parts of this show. I think.
Well, that's what made the other computer AI thing funnier, is because he says, computers like me.
Yeah.
And then Dab's, well, my asshole's bigger than your asshole line,
Yeah.
That whole thing was very funny. There was a lot of fun stuff
Was.
in the first half of the episode, and then the second half was all business, but it was all good business.
A very good episode as a whole, actually.
Yeah, it's ramped up properly. And so we know that Klein wants to see them, so he's waiting for them, and that's the cliffhanger we leave off on. And they let what's his face go, the dickhead who was running the wall.
Aye, yeah.
Forget his name too, but he was around.
It begins with a G. I don't know.
No, I'm
Pretty sure it begins with a G.
I'm not going to remember it, Connor. So there's no point in giving me letters.
No, it's just I'm trying to jog my own memory, thinking if I say it out loud, it'll come back to me.
No, it's not.
But it's not. It's not often. No.
No. So good episode. It had a really emotional, impactful scene with both Potter's death and Johnny and Dutchie's heart to heart. So
Yeah.
the trio are going to be as strong as ever going into the final, I reckon. And so we'll see how Klein maybe plays into some of this stuff.
Yeah, I feel like I can kind of see where it's going now. So like we're gonna get a bit of explanation from Klein, from Klein about what's been going on, and the stuff with the Dutch's double.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
I think we'll get that, but we won't actually go into it. That'll be mostly season 3 stuff now. The actual plot of that.
Wait, so you said you can see where it's going, and your entire thing was we'll get some exposition from Klein.
That's pretty much what I think is going to happen. I think we'll get a bit of exposition. We'll get like a bit of explanation of what's been going on, but the actual dealing with it, all of it will be in season 3.
Okay. The first half of that, I just said duh. Second half of that, sure. I thought you were going to predict or give me a guess as to what is going on, but no. Okay.
Oh no. I meant just as in terms of structurally.
Okay. All right. Well, that's Killjoys. Back next week for the season 2 finale. We'll see how that goes. So, comment below. Let us know what you think of the episode and stuff. Like and subscribe and all that jazz helps us out a lot. Keep tuned for sci-fi stuff because Van Helsing is hitting in just a few weeks' time. So we will be covering that. We've already covered the pilot because that went out early. You can check that out. I'll make sure there's a link to it up somewhere on top of the screen. So yeah, do that. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.